Okay, so let's just start just feeling ourselves embedded in this field of a streaming down from gravity and a streaming up from the earth. So it's a breathing exercise. Okay. Now let's just try a bit of this one. Now just the one where we pull the belly in a little bit. Yeah, so there's a sense that it's not really, it's not you that's doing this, it's being done to you. It's almost like there's a vibration that's setting a resonance up, which is this exercise. Okay. So now let's just get a sense of the Dan Shan. So make sure the back is flat. We'll work on the sacrum soon. But here, just try and get the tailbone dangling down. And there's a swelling here, but it's sort of retreating. And now just let the head go. So we're wanting this to be my stable center. And my head being as far from it as my feet is actually quite mobile. So we have to just, we tend to lock the head in position in order to be able to see the world. But we just want to let it just really float. And so you're trying to keep this still relative to the feet and the ground. So just feel the weight coming into this leg just by tilting over. So it's just like a side bend really, but just really feeling the head floating from side to side. Whoa. Okay, now let's try a few on this line. So just tilting forwards, trying not to let your bum go back. So you're just bending at the upper spine and then just bending back a little bit. So you can just take it as far as you want. Okay, now a few more going side to side. And so all the time, just trying to relax the legs. Each time you move, just let yourself settle down. Now let's just go back to the pulling the belly in a little bit. Yeah, so there should be a sense that all these exercises, they're just different versions of the same thing. It's just a breathing exercise, Qigong. And just changing the hands a little bit, but basically the same thing, sort of pulling the belly in and then letting it out a bit. So this tends to be Min Meng, and then this is the belly. Ooh. All the time, just feeling that pull down through the body. So sinking into energy, becoming totally saturated in it. It's a bit like sinking into a sleep. You know, when you fall asleep, you're sort of lost to sleep. So it's the same with energy. And now let's just try again, just a different version. So this feeling of something cascading down over you, splitting at the sacrum and down the legs. So now working more directly on the sacrum. So just feel the room, like your hands are sweeping across the floor and up the walls, over the ceiling, and then everything's funneling down through you. So you just want to feel it splitting across the sacrum. Ooh. Okay, and now let's just get into riding horse. Okay, and now just working, so the Dan Qian, so similar, just a version of this leaning one. So just leaning over and just lifting this foot off the ground and then across. So just tread lightly, so the toes go down and then you put the whole foot down and slowly bring the weight across. So again, this sense that this is the part of you that in a sense is moving the least. Just feeling the leg. As it relaxes you into it, it draws you across and it draws the ground up into the dantian. So we're like a ball. This exercise is to get yourself like a ball with the dantian at the center. So feel the ground pulling the dantian through the leg. So it's like there's this pull. Okay, now let's just come into riding horse again and just feel that. So you're much more like a ball. So normally when we stand, we're more like a sort of vertical pole, like a line. So here we've just made ourselves squat and more like a sphere with a center. And then let's try a few more of these. Ooh. Okay, and now let's just squat down. So the hips and the sacroiliac, so the joints around the sacrum. So just feel the sacrum really sort of spreading. It's almost like your back becomes all sacrum. And then just rock some weight over that. So let the arms fill up. Just, you can judge how much weight you want to bring forwards. And just rocking back, just being aware really. And so when we get bored, what we do tends to retreat into the background. And so we're just trying to keep it in the foreground all the time. So feel the feet on the floor. It's almost like there's a resonance from the ground that's coming up into your body. Imagine the sort of frequencies that are coming up into you, really sort of long frequencies, long wavelengths. much longer than your own breath. And then just rocking forwards again. Just feel the ground, feel it coming up in between the shoulders. And then you can just sort of, you can get a bit of a fight going between your feet and your arms, between the two hands, like the two hands are trying to move relative to each other. And the ground is sort of preventing it. So you can sort of direct the effort and the tension, the good tension, into different parts of your body to help open them up. The joints, the sacroiliacs, up into the head, those cranial plates, you can get them shifting around a bit. And just always use the breath. So you sort of breathe in the ground as much as anything. And then just forwards one more time. And then back one more time. So just feel that. So the ground is quiet and it's still. Okay, now let's just come up just a little bit. So just staying down into a squat, trying to get the spine pretty horizontal. And just let it take its time. You can rock from leg to leg, you can rock backwards and forwards. And now we're just going to come up onto the elbows. So just trying to keep your sacrum down and just coming up onto the elbows. And then just hands. Can you keep the sacrum down and just push up? So you're really bowing the back, bending the back, arching the back. And then back down. Elbows, and then the hands on the floor and just really deep, as low as you can go. And then just back up into riding horse. Okay, so just a few more of these just to. Okay, now let's just working the legs a little bit. Yeah, so just softening the legs now. Again, this is trying its best to sort of stay pretty much central. It's like the rhythm of like a slow walk, an amble through the countryside. And then just now just more like a jog, but very, very gently. You barely lift the foot off the ground. It just snaps and goes straight back down again. So we're just trying to get a different rhythm in the body, one that's more the heartbeat rather than the breath. And just feel that vertical line. So as soon as you do something like this, you just organize along that vertical line. When we did the tipping exercise like this, then we were organizing about a center, a point. And now the dominant fact of my being is this verticality, this vertical line through. So I just want my coccyx to be on that line and to be sort of pulling down. So I'm just getting a flatness in my lower back that's natural. I'm not using force. So again, my body is being operated upon. So each of these exercises is just something you set going and then just let it do its work. Okay. And now let's try a little bit more of this. So from a narrower stance. And so imagine the Chinese sort of doing their Qigong, there's these pictures of, hundreds of them all congregated like a military formation, all doing their exercises in sync with each other. So it's very much using energy to create this sense of human togetherness. Yeah. So ours is not that at all, really. We're trying to connect with something that's before the human. So this sense of place, this sense that you're resonating with the place you find yourself in, and you're throbbing with the time that's passing as you engage that place. So, you know, in a lot of primitive cultures, they have a sense of the ancestors, this feeling of something flowing. You're just a tiny, tiny part of a much, much bigger whole. Okay, so we do tend to behave as though the fundamental fact of my being is myself. And so when you meditate, you realize that that's actually pretty shallow. And if you can get beyond it, there's an infinity beyond it. So it's not the self and it's not the human, it's not the species really. Yeah, so we want to connect with something that doesn't rely on me being alive, with something for which my death is an insignificance. Yeah, so it's like a real deep time, a deep place. Yeah, and Tai Chi is just great for that. Even though it's like a cultural artifact, you can put it to any ends you want, really. Okay, and now let's just lean against the wall. So just find a wall that's relatively secure. Yeah, so you just want the sacrum on the wall. Yeah, so my upper back is not really on the wall that much. It's more, my weight is pressing back into my sacrum. It's almost like my legs are trying to push the ground forwards, and that's driving my sacrum back. And just allowing the sacrum and the lower back to sort of flatten out. And then just gradually just sort of work it. So you're just working one, a bit like when we were jogging. So you're just, think of the wall as being like an extension of the ground. So you're touching the ground now in feet and sacrum. Yeah, so you're borrowing the stillness of the ground and the wall, and you're giving the ground and the wall a little bit of your movement, of your very organic movement. So it's an exchange. So for Yeah, so whatever you do when you're in position, just try and feel that you could keep it going for quite a long time if required. So it's not too much effort. And then just roll around and just leaning forwards now. Yeah. So coming off the heels, because you want the sacrum to be heavy. Yeah, so what tends to happen here, because people have too much strength in their legs, they tend to do this, which means the lower back gets really tight and bent. So you're wanting to just let my sacrum down, flowing down into the knees. And you're barely leaning. I mean, you can really lean if you like, but it's more that sort of vertical, that sort of looseness in the legs. And just feel the wall with your hands. So just borrow that reliable stillness of the wall. Let it come into your spine, into your bones. It's great doing it with trees as well. Yes, so we want to get to that point of relaxed legs, where the legs feel a little bit wobbly. They're sort of trembling a bit, and they're a little bit unstable because you're not locking at the hips. Okay, so now let's just come back. And now let's just turn a little bit. So again, just trying to turn from the ground. Feel the action of the feet on the ground. We're so used to turning from the hips. So there's something, the feet are working in slightly different ways to produce this turning action. Yeah, so yielding produces a circle here, and attack produces a line here. So again, it's a bit like the ball with the line through it that we got when we were vertical. Yes, just using the foot. So I'm twisting this foot this way just to bring myself round a little bit. Okay. And then just back to riding horse. So just feel the smile of riding horse. So something in you is, it's like a big smiley mouth here. And here, of course. Like a smile of hospitality. So you're offering the other your hearth. You're offering them a place to come and commune. Okay, now let's just bring it in. So just feel the ball. This is the center. As soon as you come back to the Dan Chen, you tend to come into that ball feeling, that's feeling of being spherical. And then just coming into the line. So just now just feel that vertical line, almost like it's going down infinitely, it's going up infinitely. Okay, great.